Yeah, that sounds like it's my aunt.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you would join me in the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
And I want to announce that we had an executive session prior to the meeting. At this time, we'll recognize the public. If you have any comments, return, if you would please go to the podium.
Hello, Mark Schreiber, third court again, before you, I think in December, junk car issue, gave you guys pictures about, across the street, everything, within the front doors of, see. And, I believe the solicitor said they were gonna take care of the problem, and to date, they're not done. So now I was told by, I think that they can't go on the property to look and see if the license on the quality of hell is that. I believe they're parking in the right of way in the middle of the road, and full access and stuff. What do you guys do? So,
Okay, Bethany,
he said they called me. First, he said they called me. Second, they said they sent in a letter, and Mike said they didn't do nothing. So I don't know who to believe.
So I do know we did talk to him, your neighbor. He is allowed to have one junk car, and the other ones, we have to be able to verify from the right of way that they're not street worthy. There was a trailer that was towed behind that he was saying was street legal. So we have to be able to prove it from the right of way to do anything about it. At the last I had checked, it was just those two there. Had to put more back.
No, correct.
It's just those two.
A junk truck there, flat tires, leaking oil into the creek, and then there's also the so behind pop-up camper.
That we,
But your ordinance said he's allowed one junk car.
yeah.
That camper's it's not allowed there.
He was saying that it was street worthy. I'd have to be able to prove that it's not.
There's lines drawn on it for 5-6 years. With a set of binoculars.
Well, I can't go up there with binoculars. I have to just stand through with the right way, unless he allows me on the property. Bethany, is that something DEP would be interested? If he thinks that it's leaking oil, yeah, I would reach out to either Conservation District or DEP on that one. They have a little more access to the site than we do. Okay, if you would do that.
So we can, are we working on this ordinance so to get rid of junk cars and every time I look out my front door, there's junk cars sitting there? I mean,
we have several ordinances that we are working on, and that would be included.
Yeah, I know you guys don't want to see that out your property.
No.
Right? So it's ridiculous that I'm getting frustrated that I'm not getting any help. You can't see that thing's not roadworthy.
I mean, he can have one junk vehicle, and I can't stop him.
Yeah, well, that needs to change that too.
Yeah.
And then view of houses, that's why I'm the part about asking about that. So we can't do anything about the truck. I think last time the solicitor told me I could go file some charges against him with the police. Did you have a talk with them about that? No, not yet. And one next, you didn't know with me. You guys didn't know with me. So I don't know what the charge is going to be. That's my next question.
Well, I would talk to.
Should I get his mother involved? That's a serious question. That's another question. It might be her property. I doubt it, but could be.
I think if we get DEP involved in it, they would pursue it more so. They have better access to the clay, but affecting a creek. Okay. That's where you would usually start, and they reach out to DEP when they need to. So
Yeah, well,
that's when they can refer to them.
it'll probably take, what, 4 years? 5 years? That would be a long time, though. I mean,
Okay. To reach out to the company and see if we can get something going.
yeah, what's the right of way from the center of the road to the where? To 25 feet? Probably not that big. It is. They could go to 16 feet and if you go through, just put your hand on. The camper. Well, they're claiming they ain't allowed on this property. Well, I can stand there and see this thing has flat tires, it's not movable, it's not roadworthy.
Has anybody gone out there and looked at it?
It has been looked at, and like I said, he did move some off. But once he's down to just one, I don't have wording in the ordinance to do more, which is my problem.
You actually look underneath the truck to see if it was leaking.
I can't crawl under his trunk.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in. I can.
Legally.
I can't.
We have one question and one answer at a time. So,
I'm trying to get some relief that somehow, and what do we gotta do then to move forward to get the ordinance changed that, I don't know, see the. Cause the real estate agent said that it's affecting the value of my property.
okay.
I can't sell it because there's this, people come out and see the junks in there and they go, what the hell are you doing here?
Okay.
So, I mean, what can we do about this? Can the solicitor can I file charges against it?
Well, you can't file charges, you can call the police and see if they will file it. I mean, I can't tell you what they're going to do.
Okay.
I think there are things they could do. I'll tell them if they will. In the meantime, we get license, we need it.
Yeah, well, maybe you guys ask me a little bit off. I don't know. This is gonna, I keep getting it, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't see it. You can't see that. Something awful.
All right.
Well,
We'll get quickly involved in that and see what we can get for you by the next meeting.
yeah, and just public works guy here, they're doing a fantastic job in Brown Road, take care of it, all that.
We have a very small crew, but they do a good job.
Take care of it really well.
Thank you, Mr. Coniston. Okay, we do have this here sign-in sheet. Jessica Hollers.
So my name is Jennifer Hollis. I was at the last meeting. I was told to come here because this is when you talk to. My address is 10 Cemetery Road. We currently live in that home for roughly about 15 months now. And since then, I have probably seen over, I would say probably close to 100 trucks on my road. At the last meeting, I spoke to Daryl Hall, and he is volunteer to the fire hall as well as Brian Taylor. And Brian was actually out at our home. If you flip all the way to the back, you can see the most recent accident. I created a temporary barricade to stop them turning down Big Conewago Avenue, primarily because they were using the fire hall to turn around and they were damaging the fire hall property, or they were going to the end of the road and couldn't make that 90-degree turn. I mean, it's hard enough for a car to do it. So since nothing was happening and the signs were being ignored, I decided to take the matter in my own hands so that it couldn't be ignored anymore. To which then Brian came out and I explained to him that, the sign issue, one of the issues was on there, it stated over 30 foot except local delivery. Well, when I explained that to him, he said he was going to make some calls, he took a picture, and the next day, that sign had been gotten rid of. Since then, traffic has gone down, but I still have truckers turning on our road. I have had them still trying to take the Big Conewago Avenue. They tried to move my barricade. I explained to them it's private property, you can't do that, kind of thing. So, speaking to Daryl Hall, he expressed that the sign that's on the first page of the no trucks do not enter into the whole different languages, he had expressed that actually really helps to direct people language-wise. My question would be, after I had a meeting with, Daryl explaining all of this, him and I are both on the same page. Is when coming off of 83 on the Shermanstown exit, going north or south, or even the Emmysville exit, north or south, on that small piece of greenery that's there, is there any way that we can have PHL with an arrow and then have it, in several different languages, or Odessa, arrow, several different languages, whatever the business is, whether it be unified or whatever, those they're not using the trucker GPS. Anyone who has worked with trucker or married to a trucker or is a trucker knows that there is a specific trucker GPS that is supposed to be used and is not. They're using simple Google Maps or whatever Apple Map is. But anyways, that's what they are using. They're using a car route. And what's happening is these truckers are contracted. What happens is they go to a site, they have a bid there. It has the amount of miles, the start time, end time, location here, location there for this amount of money. You click on it, that is your route. You've never been there before. People don't care if they come through this area because it's a simple one-time bid. They're not going to be here again. If they damage it, it's not a problem. I have also spoken to truckers, and they have also told me that. I have been instructed by the police every single time that they turn on our road and they're trying to back across Susquehanna Trail, which is another thing they cover in here. That I am to call the police and report it every single time. So if you need the records for every time that I have called, you can easily call them and see what they have on file. But I also want this home every single time either. Now what happens, the other problem is Carolina is another problem. They're backing the calls from my road, which is Cemetery Road, onto the Susquehanna Trail into my neighbor's private property driveway. They have in the process been destroying their property, but their house was backed into. The trucker also tried to leave. They backed into the house and they would run out, get in a truck, and stop the trucker from leaving. The police were called, they came out and everything. The damage is done to their house. Their house still isn't fixed, and that was done before Christmas, and it's still not fixed. So this is property damage, not just for me, but a lot of us in here can say that we're really ticked off about this situation.
Yes.
And honestly, when it comes to the sign, there are options out there. I did include also one Amazon. You can get custom signed names of custom sizes, ranging anywhere between $40 and if you look on Amazon up to about $100 a piece. My thing is that if somehow the township can get together with PennDOT, because I know you guys say it's their job, they say it's your job because of a private road or public road, whatever the case may be, I really don't care. Splitting hairs. But at times, eventually, you guys need to work together. There's signs that can be made that literally state in different languages, and instead of showing up package cars, which is what FedEx and UPS and Amazon have, actually had semi-trucks because if the people cannot read, at least they can read a picture. And if it has a big truck like their truck, I mean, they're going kindergarten style along, hopefully they can understand it. But, and I mean, I'm not saying this because I have something against truckers. I am very pro truckers. I know the rules, I know the regulations, I know the expectations, I know what they have accessibility to. And honestly, when it comes to this, it's just we're supposed to be a safe town, and I have kids that I don't even feel safe playing on a back road because not only am I dealing with truckers, but I'm also dealing with Brad from MOC, whatever that auto place is. He goes that the other thing that I have to cover real quick. So when he's doing whatever work on his vehicles, he likes to use Big Conewago Avenue to come flying up and down those roads. Several times my kids have had to run their bikes into the grass, then fall over to get out of his way. This is a problem. So I don't know, and I hate to say it like this, I do need speed bumps or something, but some kind of safety needs to be done in that area because there are more children moving in, and the overall damage of the property go up.
Okay, thank you. You raised a lot of good questions there.
I have one question.
Oh,
When
sorry.
PennDOT put the signs up at the end of the interstate stating warehouse traffic turn radius, or turn left. I think it's on those.
Yeah, the only one they have there is at the light, and it says that that's a, and it's a 12 by 8.
No, this is a pretty big sign. On the solar side, it's that there for several years.
Yeah, that would be.
Did that help?
Yes, absolutely, because they were able to see something that side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was actually, shortly after we moved in, when they put down my soft side for the first time. I actually called them, I had them come out and everything, and I was like, since we've lived here, like, I've seen so many trucks, and now, you know, it was actually the second time we got a truck on this fence. And after that, the cop said, well, we'll put some solar signs down there, but we're only told that we can leave them there for at max 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
During that time, the traffic of tractor trailer dropped immensely. And I was like, this is awful. Dude, they went away. It was right back on again. So, yeah, that's why they.
The road crew is working on getting that 283 tons to quit 3 times down the arrows. The things that I stopped one the other day.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing I talked to you about, having a sign up that says that keep going straight to 83.
And I stopped one the other day. He tried to turn this fire company. Like, I don't know where to turn around. I got to turn around. He's like, I don't need road. The need to do the tree. You have to do right and through. So we're working on trying to get signs so that it's not a process.
So the other question that I have too is, you saw my temporary barricade.
Yeah.
The other question I have, and I did bring it up in the last meeting, and I did bring it up to you guys. I want to put a permanent barricade in that area, about 12 inches to like 18 inches, all of the side or all of the sidewalk area corner. And I will pay for it out of my own pocket. I'm not asking for your financing. I will do it myself. I've had neighbors come over and say, absolutely, we would pitch in and help. My question is, I want to get steel rod pipes that are about 4 inches and out of ground, they'll be about this high. The reason why is because you have a trailer, the bottom part of the trailer that sits about this high. So what will happen is when they go to come around that corner, that will actually get stuck under the axle, causing them to stop immediately. Which is how I got them to stop last time. Is I had a pipe that actually got stuck up in the axle. So basically, American truck around the time. So with things like that, I have been able to stop some things and stop people property from being damaged, especially with the fire home now. I have been able to stop a lot of truckers from coming through the fire home back then. So I just we need to figure out more permanent thing, and I'm wondering if I can do the.
Eric, and then you might get help on that. It would have to be out of it right away.
Oh, yes, it would be out of the right way.
And then you might put yourself in.
I said I hate to look from my right here.
Yeah, and
That's a legal thing.
Yeah,
engineer.
I mean, you're kind of thinking, they can't really approve that and if they did, that doesn't relieve you of legal liability if a trucker, you know, they did something damage to them, they have to you.
So even if there's trespassing on my property, and I have private property signs up that says no trespassing or anything.
But here's what I'm gonna tell you as, you know, as an attorney, right? You can win a lawsuit and still lose the lawsuit. You might be able to bend your action and ultimately say, well, the only, you know, you are more responsible than me because you haven't been doing this here when you shouldn't be driving a truck. The question is, how many thousands of dollars are it gonna cost you to get to that point? If, you know, a trucker, like that.
So what are my options then, in your opinion, that I would have to stop having sign replaced and my property damaged?
I mean, if you put up a sign or do something that isn't likely to damage them,
Or maybe just put up a warning sign that says, hey, if you turn your truck, it's gonna be screwed. I mean, I'm just being honest here. Like, and that's being like, hey, I warned you, and you still turn. So,
What about, she said the solar sign,
so they had these massive solar signs that said all trucks and then said turn left or turn right. And when they got to the light, as they were getting off the exit and got up to the light, instead of turning right like they always do, they were actually turning left the way that they were supposed to. So they weren't coming towards my house, they were actually going towards the business.
right,
But then as soon as they were removed, they were left with this little itty bitty sign again, and they didn't know where they were going.
Yeah, the only problem is, it's always new driver. that come out.
They're contract.
Yeah.
It works
So
all
it almost
outside.
needs to be there affirming it.
Right.
A lot of them are circling around and coming back up Howard Bridge, you know, like,
Right.
there are a lot of people on the app.
So any sign like that, so that's like a message sign or a flashing sign. Basically, there's a book. It's called the MUTCD manual. It's a real page turner if you get it in spare time. But it basically defines all of the signs that are permitted to be installed in a state right of way. It's kind of the standard book for a stop sign. Here, this is what stop sign needs to look for. Basically, as a township, you have the ability to install signs, speed limit signs, warning signs, anything else within the state right of way as long as it meets that manual. A specialty sign like that isn't covered in that manual, but the procedure for that would be through 10.8. If you would be talking about putting message board with the state line. So I'm assuming the police were able to put that sign there and they gave you that time limit on the weeks because it was considered.
Well, they were the ones who did the sign. They were
Sure.
very important. They were the recall.
Sure. So regional where they will put a sign there, but it was considered temporary. So if you want to install a permanent sign, especially within a PennDOT right of way that doesn't meet that, the provisions of that manual, you have to go through a permitting process to get that sign.
Right.
I think if that's something the township would be interested in pursuing, the first step would be to talk to your local PennDOT rep and just see whether there would be any appetite to fund something like that. It'd be pretty unique. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if anyone, and I'll put this out there, if anybody has any examples of elsewhere where they've seen a sign like that,
Well, that's
Where-
what I did on the first page. So if you want to, you can look on the first page that I have there. Daryl Hall was the one who got this one.
well, I thought we were talking about a messaging sign.
So, right. So what I'm saying is this is a basic one that he had. I'm saying change it from do not enter to an arrow and then have the business with the languages. Just like here, it says no problem, do not enter. Instead, change it up to what we need, like arrow, business, languages, but still same concept. And then put it at that area. So basically a custom made safe sign, basically.
No, it'd still have to go through the permitting process.
Right.
And that's probably more acceptable. As I was listening to you, I thought we were talking about basically the flashing digital. If you could permit one of those, dude, that would just be.
Well, even something like that, and then have a solar light like the flash and 24/7. I mean, that is really
Yeah,
good.
you have options, but because it would be something custom in any event, you need to get the support PennDOT.
So how do we get that started, to help support?
It's your local provider and reach out to your state reps
Alright.
for support.
So would that be on the township side to start that?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So that would be an action item for us.
And actually, this sign here was up to E3.
Yeah.
And that was a good day after we put sign different languages and they still have problems.
Yeah, I take my son to school every morning and then,
You're not in there and they truck to get that.
yeah,
They just let them go in, come around and they come back out.
right.
They don't really touch.
So that's my thing is, I mean, I know that up at 83, at that light, we did have police in the station there in the dirt pull walk area, but lately I haven't seen anyone there. And those, I mean, I was speaking to, I don't know if it was the first or whoever was in charge, but he basically said that there's one person on the police staff that has the training and ability to do the DOT test to make sure that they can. My question is how can we get it to where more of them can do it? So as they're pulling these truckers over, they can do these tests. Because in my opinion, the way I see it is, okay, you end up getting them fined or, whatever, that brings more money in for you guys. So, I mean, it's a win-win type of situation. It helps us out through this year, but it also helps you guys financially.
The guy's name's Logan. The officer's name's Logan. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah.
And David Lash refuses to use them. He ran Hoyt to the end of March, and he didn't.
Okay, if you have something, you need to come.
David Lash refuses to use Logan.
Okay.
You know that.
Did you have anything else?
No, I
Okay.
take another thing.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next one, Edward Ritter.
I believe Mary Ann was one that she signed up to speak as well.
I think I went there.
No, Martha. She just said it.
That's okay. You were number 5, but that's okay. You can be 3. You can be 2.
Mary Ann Albright, 775 Greenspan. This was out of the meeting, I presented the right to know from July 24th to December 11th, and just stated my concerns about the conflict of interest, the CGA law firm. And then we got a new lawyer, and that was on November 5th. My concerns about for reading the right to know from a comment that Ms. Flowers made was I suggest that the scope of this meeting be limited to the information about the proposed development so we get an understanding of what the metrics this developer can live with. The verbiage there for me concerns me because that's why I asked you last time, who did Ms. Flowers represent? And Loretta, you said us, to which I asked us meaning us.
Community.
So that kind of verbiage kind of like, that's like flag number 1 for me. I have concerns about that. So on March 24th, 2026, Sherry Ripito and we met with Representative Edward Ritter of the 47th District.
Not represented.
Of the 47th, okay. Prior to the meeting, he was forwarded a right to know that was previously mentioned. He's a retired engineer, and he was most gracious to review the right to know. He's explained to Sherry and I that water, the supply and discharge, lighting, which includes light pollution, power, and noise should be our concern. He went through the whole right to know. And ladies and gentlemen, that was 130 pages. That was the task for just me and Cherie. So for him to do this, kudos to you. Basically, he too had concerns, which I kind of appreciated because I showed it to my son. And he's in college right now. And I asked him about the York County Economic Alliance and the York County Planning Commission. They did a presentation. And what concerned me with that was just there were quotes from here to there. And Mr. Ritter will kind of go through them, the discrepancy. Basically, Elysion said it will employ 120 employees over 3 shifts. And as he looked at it, you would need 80 parking spots. That was nowhere mentioned, not even. So my concern is that we brought all this information about the amendments and I just had concern that so much, again, my problem is that Elysion is Martin Glass. Martin Glass was the Rite Aid CEO who was founded and charged with fraud. So I don't like the township making another mistake by partnering up with somebody. I mean, it's fraud, it's number, it's money, it's all this. So I will defer now to Mr. Ritter to kind of go over those discrepancies that was presented at that first meeting in October. I just think we all need to be aware so that when the next amendment comes out, we're a little bit more educated on the concerns that we should have, or else, the trucking problem that we have now, I don't need it to be a data problem too. I don't need to look at the frequency. I have my health concerns, just all of that. So, you would give him your attention. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Edward Ritter, 1273 Winterberry Drive, North PA, Shrewsbury Township. As Mary Ann mentioned,
I'm a candidate, I'm not a state representative candidate, but I'm here as a retired professional engineer with 40 years of experience. The documents I reviewed in the right to know were provided from, that some of it was township correspondence between Elysian Partners, and some of it was documents provided by the York County Economic Alliance. There were no site development plans, no specifications reviewed. The first point under noise, there's talk about required testing for noise limits at the property line. There's nothing in there about coordinating testing with operation of emergency equipment, say fire pumps or emergency generators, both of which have a fair amount of added noise. So in addition to whatever noise would be from the operations of the data center, you should also consider how you want to write in regulations, so that is covered, and any remediation would be necessary for emergency generator noise, or emergency equipment noise would be included in the regulation. Water, the York County Economic Alliance made a statement that water use for the data center would be roughly equivalent to a large office building. Google said the large office building would draw 22,000 gallons per day on average. But then they say that the actual water usage can be expected to be between 500,000 and 5 million gallons per day, which is between 22 and 220 times their stated large office building. So they're let's just say a little loose with the facts there. Certainly unclear.
Where did that come from?
That came from the right to know document.
Yeah, but from who?
That came specifically from the York County Economic Alliance,
Okay, that wasn't from the data center. That was from York County Economic.
speaking on behalf of the data center. But yes,
They were speaking for the data.
well, they were, their documents were included in the right to know package, and they were talking about the operation of a data center.
Okay.
Not specifically this one, but a data center would be expected to draw equivalent to a large office building. Which, it's kind of like you go out to expect to buy a used truck, 22,000, and you're told it's going to cost between 500,000 and 5 million.
This time, the 500,000 to a million. Where did that figure come from?
That all stated with the exact same document from your county economic alliance. They did not quote the 22 salary. They just said the water usage would be consistent with a large office building, which Google says is about 22,000. But they didn't say 22,000. They said between 500,000 and 5 million, which again is a factor of 10x. Under the power consumption, at one point they say they wanted to, basically lean on sustainable energy, and they talk about the Pulse Run project. They're using Pulse Run. Pulse is a hill in Gettysburg. They were probably referring to Pulse Run, which is the pump storage project now in South Carolina. That's 28 miles from here, so it doesn't line up with the demand that the data center would impose on the local grid. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't review any utility lines, but factor is 28 times. Sorry, 28 miles. And they certainly said that roof mounted solar was not an option. That would be totally to cover their need. Those are the three main things. I'm presuming there's nobody here from Elysian or York County Economic Alliance tonight. The last thing I know, just for public record, they seem to say they would be operating servers in an oxygen deficient atmosphere at about 12.5% oxygen. In this room, we're looking at about 21% oxygen. OSHA says not about 19.5% is considered an oxygen deficient atmosphere, and precautions should be taken in having anybody working in less than 19.5%. They indicated they saw no problem with short-term operation at 12.5%. So they're And in my view, they're opening themselves up to potential double blast. They should exercise due diligence. Any questions?
No. Thank you very much. I've had a lot of information.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Melissa Leader. I was gonna say, I think you have, didn't she?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the sort of time on the 5 minutes version and allowing this.
Yeah.
She wanted to know if she could email her.
She can email to any one of us. Mhm, yeah, and she can email to me.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Mhm. Okay, Sharon Reckitt. Yeah, we usually have 5 minutes per person, but, people have some interesting things and they wanna, discuss, so we're gonna continually go a little bit longer.
All right, good evening. I'm here because I have tried for 4 weeks to get Loretta to talk to me about something that happened in the township building. That's unacceptable. 4 weeks now. All you had to do was email me or give me a phone call. I left you my number. We wouldn't be standing here right now wasting time because I was virtually, personally, I feel insulted by what happened on the phone because I did not initiate the conversation. And when I said about the conversation, I am not talking about that. The person continued to go on about it. Continue, even though I set a boundary and I said, I'm not doing that. This is that stuff. Yeah, I can't even call the township office to ask a question because I don't feel comfortable with this. That's not right. I mean, all of you remember that the citizens voted you in. You're supposed to be working for a 4 week. That is just not acceptable whatsoever. And I mean, for you to tell me 2 weeks ago, I'm in my business season. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Well, guess what?
I don't know if I said that.
Oh, you did. Melissa was standing there with me. If Melissa was here, I get her to send it to you in the email.
Yeah, because I can help you anytime.
But you didn't. You stood out there and you said, "This is my business thinking. You need
But
taxes," and then you would talk to me in 2 weeks. We're at 2 weeks. I have emailed John and said, "Hey, John, she still hasn't answered me." He said, "I'm going to talk to her."
And I think we had addressed that
No, we
conversation.
did not. We did not address it.
Okay,
We did not.
all right. Tomorrow morning, I will give you a call and
Yeah, well, yeah, after 2:15 because I need to work.
I'll call you after 2:15.
And that would be appropriate. I appreciate it. I should not have had to come here. Because,
Okay.
like
I thought we had already addressed that and everything was settled.
no, we did not address it.
I'll give you a call. If you don't hear from me by 2:15, give me a call.
I'm usually pretty level. I've walked, I've been staying here. But customer service is her job.
Okay.
Township.
All right.
And I've got it all here. Like, this is that habit. You don't like what you hear. It's not right.
I don't believe I cut
You did.
anybody.
Yeah, you did do that.
And who did I cut off?
You've done that. You said, "Oh, thank you." You've done it to me. "Oh, thank you." Haven't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that.
Well, we do have it down and we have a 30-minute
Yeah,
ending.
you don't want to hear.
And I have been really generous and going, well, right
I
now,
get that. I get that. But you do it when it's something that you don't want to talk about or you feel uncomfortable about, or you just don't want to hear it.
yeah, I'm not uncomfortable and I'd like to hear anything you have to say. And that's why we extended
They
the
should
time.
take 4 weeks.
Okay.
That's probably.
All right, tomorrow we'll have it resolved.
Right. If not, I'll be back here next month and we'll try again.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Riverdale. Okay, next one, Jamie, the daughter.
Jimmy John 535. I just want to point it out to everybody here that this definitely started to raise the number of board members from 3 to 5. I have a petition for that signatures after the meeting. You mentioned you know Facebook, call me anytime. I'll keep you. It will cost tons of a small amount of money for the salary, which is roughly $2,500 more or less plus their health insurance. So there is a small amount. Not enough to justify it raising taxes, not enough to raise us above to 5.1. Thank you. Oh, also, Mr. Slick, I'm waiting for you to go back to you from at least 20 days ago. I haven't received that. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pagano. Jennifer Campbell.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes.
God wants to talk to you. He thinks you're a big ball baby.
Oh, that's fine.
He said the same thing up there from that.
Okay. I always want to get.
Okay.
1480 South Albany Bridge Road. I'm actually asking a question that's on the agenda for today. You have one here for the low bid for York Materials for the asphalt. Is that going to accommodate the 76 old? Because if it is, everyone in this room is paying for a hot hour tax for 76 old to go on stupid little back road township roads. That doesn't need to be. 76 old is for highway materials, interstates, anything pertaining to 65 miles or more. It does not need to be on these back roads at all. It's a waste of every one of our monies that you all are eating for no reason at all. I said, and it shouldn't be. I don't understand why. Every one of these roads got 76 last year. I understand we got rid of Josh. Josh is the one that made the decision on that 76 old. Each one of your old township workers that run these little dump trucks and paving crew, they hate it. And I know every one of them guys. I've worked with them for 20 years. They don't like it. It's very thick. It doesn't work. It doesn't stay compacted. As soon as you get a little truck on it, or even one of these semis, they're twisting and turning on these back roads, it's tearing it apart. Where do you think we keep getting these potholes from? Because y'all are using the wrong consistency of oil. We need all 56 oil. So does that consist? Is it on the agenda this year for you all to use 76 oil, or are you guys going to go back to 56?
First of all, I agree with everything you said.
Thank you.
And I will say it is in the bid to use 76, but it's my intention to award this bid and change order it out. I did not prepare the bid, but the township supervisors have asked me to administer the bid now that township manager is no longer here. So
Yeah, because it's a waste of our money. It really is.
no, it's my intention to change that now. But again, the bid was put out with 76. We did not issue an addendum to change that while it was bid. I don't think it would have affected the low bid. Now that we have a low bidder, we can change that out and change the price adjusted and get that. So it's just, I agree with everything you said. I don't have any issues with thinking of it.
Okay. All right. Next thing. The only other thing is this AI building for Bowers Bridge or Restaurant Farms. If you guys actually pass this, you guys are condemning every one of us. Literally every one of us that is in that area, especially me. My property butts up against his. He is dumping biofuel track everywhere that overhangs my property, which is wrong. I'm breathing it in, and I was actually at the Cancer Infusion Center today. I go every 2 weeks for the rest of my life, and it's terminal, and I can't do anything about it anymore. And you guys are going to condemn me to the ground if you allow him to sell his property for that. It is wrong. I guarantee you wouldn't want to live next to it. Not at all. It's wrong what he's doing. Okay.
Okay, the next one is Kelly. You're gonna have to give me your last name. Condratic?
Hi, I'm Melody Guy, 445 Howard Bridge Road. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am also an adjacent property owner to the parcel under discussion for data center development. I personally have over a decade of experience, professional experience in agricultural policy. Nearly all of that is related to agricultural economic development for the state of Pennsylvania. And I want to be clear, I'm speaking on my own tonight, not my own beautiful capacity, but I care very deeply about how we use and protect agricultural land for current and future generations. I want to focus on 3 points tonight. First, this is a land use and economic issue. Agricultural zoning is intended to prioritize land for agricultural production and maintain a viable agricultural economy over time. This is something that the state has said is a priority is agriculture. Allowing industrial scale uses like data centers in these zones is not a small adjustment. It is a fundamental shift in how that land is valued and used. Data is not an agricultural commodity. If this use is permitted, it signals that agricultural land can be converted whenever a higher value opportunity arises, undermining the purpose of zoning itself. Secondly, as mentioned tonight, there are real impacts surrounding landowners that I'm not confident have been clearly addressed. Hyperscale data centers are not typical commercial uses. They operate as continuous industrial scale infrastructure, often requiring significant water demand. Thank you for the numbers, into the millions of gallons, and generating constant mechanical noise from cooling systems and equipment. If it's not the water, it's the energy. There's a drain on resources. Within close proximity, these impacts are not theoretical. They're in our backyards. They are experienced daily by neighboring properties through the noise, light, and strain on shared resources. I also briefly want to address the comparison to Northern Virginia's data center alley. I appreciate that the supervisors took a trip there, took the time to learn from that region, but that is not a one-to-one comparison to what we're looking at here in the county. That area is a mix of different types of data centers built over decades of time, starting in the 90s, with significant existing infrastructure to support them. The current wave of development that they're now experiencing does include what is most likely to be proposed here in the hyperscale scale. It operates at a fundamentally different side. Using that region as a general comparison and a reference point to here, without distinguishing the scale and the type and truly built out ecosystem that they have, risks giving all of us a false sense of what type of development is actually entailed at the local level here. Third and lastly, and I understand this is a landowner's choice, and I respect that. This is about consistency and public trust. Programs like Clean, Green, and agricultural security areas exist to support and signal a long-term commitment to choosing land in agriculture. Many of us make decisions about where to live and where to invest based on those signals. When land enrolled in these programs that are taxed and used for preferential programs is later then up for consideration to be used in other ways, it calls into question who's making them and the integrity of the land planning process. It erodes the trust in both the programs that are designed to keep rural agricultural land intact. And I know this doesn't sit as a decision with the board or with the township supervisors, but it's something for us to seriously consider as the president just said. It raises a broader question that I think all of us are sitting up here tonight and have for the last several months. Are we concerned about planning for the community or reacting to private investment opportunity? Pennsylvania's agricultural land is one of its greatest long-term assets. And once it's converted, it is nearly impossible to get back. My request is simple. We need to consider the community's best interest when it comes to zoning and long-term land use planning. And I think the community's voice has been made loud and clear. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the floor will be closed. Adoption of the agenda prepared.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as prepared.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the previous minutes, that's the March 2026 minutes. I wouldn't, I did specify that I didn't have the hearing included in there, so are you just approving the minutes with the hearing separate, or do you want to wait until I get the hearing finished? So you had the rezoning hearing, I just want to take more time getting it. Okay, we'll table that, and then we'll have it for the next meeting. Okay. Okay, cause I don't wanna approve it.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to do them separate or not, that's all.
Yeah. No, we'll do it all at once. Okay, planning and zoning, ordinance number 374, correction.
So we had our ordinance 373 at the last meeting, which was for the rezoning of the land, Local Point, Andy and Doug Road. And, we approved it under the number of 373 because we thought that was the first of the number as we were cleaning out Shannon's desk. We found an ordinance for 373 already that just hadn't properly been put away. So we're coming back to just put the right number on the ordinance. Nothing's changing but that, and then you guys have to re-sign it and redate it. So I just wanted to get that cleaned up.
Okay, so if you understand, the only thing we're changing is the ordinance number. Nothing's being changed. Something was not taken out of order, so this is just to correct it. So, do I hear a motion
I'll
to,
make a motion to approve the change from 373 to 374. I'll second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Bright Eye Solar Extension.
I know, okay, so those two, the Bright Eye and the Carvana here are just one to let you guys know that you would have had to act on them if I hadn't got extensions. So just to let you guys know, we went ahead and got extensions on both of those. So Bright Eye Solar has extended their due date for action until October 26, 2026. And Carvana had theirs extended till September 26, 2026, just to make sure they have enough time so they don't get denied ahead of time.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, do I hear a motion to do the two extensions for Bright Eye Solar and Carvana?
Well, I don't think, you don't have to ask, it done.
Okay.
I was just making sure you know about them. You don't have to act on it, I was just updating you. You don't have to approve the extension, they grant the extension, basically. So you guys don't have to act on it.
Okay. We have questions.
Sorry, I just have a quick question. So at the last meeting, I spoke to Carvana and they were supposed to contact their lawyer and get back to me or get back to you guys. I don't know if you heard anything yet, but I had mentioned about how Carvana was going, with all this massive building and everything, it's going to put a strain on our power grid and everything. And if they were going to have their own separate power grid and everything, and they said the plans weren't to do that, that they were going to double check. But the other question that I have with you guys is, he had mentioned that apparently no one has come to Carvana to talk about a truck route going through that property. He flat out said it on the podium, said that no one had come to him and said anything about it. Like a 5-year plan of doing the truck route. So,
That's inaccurate.
okay.
That's inaccurate. We had a pre-development meeting before the plan was submitted with representatives from Carvana, the engineers and their solicitors. And we discussed the proposed official map. I'll caution you at this point, and we haven't proceeded with the official map any further than what was presented back in October, just because we obviously have some more pressing issues to deal with right now.
Yeah, that's fine. I kind of know why.
No, but I just want to be clear, the official map right now is nothing more than just kind of a draw, it's an idea.
Okay.
So we've been discussing the traffic studies and the feasibility reports need to go into justifying that route.
Well, and that's the thing is, I've seen you guys out there doing stuff. Like I've seen. I don't know if it's like survey gear or whatever. I don't know.
It's probably
But-
Carvana's representative.
Yeah,
Not
and that was the
yeah,
question.
sure.
Is I didn't know why he would say that standing up there if the actions that I've seen don't line up. The representatives that
That
were here
gave the
from-
presentation and,
It was their engineer who was. He was.
He was?
He was.
Oh, okay. But that's what was alarming for me. I was like, well, this is.
No, what he
So-
alluded to at planning committee is actually the first plan that we saw. The building was proposed on the eastern side
Okay.
of Susquehanna Trail, and after we discussed our desires for a potential bypass road in there, that's when they shifted the building to the western side. So now there's no conflict with any future project if that project happens. And again, I want to say that's a big if. We're just we're evaluating different solutions right now. That's one of them. That's on.
okay, yes. Your name, please?
Jason Shoe, 85 Arctic Road. It doesn't seem like we're really getting ahead of these warehouses going in and the traffic problems that they're causing. And when we put these podcasts in, who pays for those roads to go in for those warehouses that are being built? I mean, do we ever calculate that into part of their, the zoning of those buildings going in, which is they need to
Help
to
pay
have
for it.
those roads upgraded or new roads established that handle that truck traffic, or does that get put back on the community to pay for now that it's already there and we realize there's a problem?
Well, there will be grant money available. Is that true?
Let's address the actual question is, does the township have a traffic impact? And the answer is no, township does not. What has been required to date since, again, and I understand you're seeing impacts all throughout the township, but as the projects are evaluated, most of the impacts are to the state routes. So PennDOT really drives what improvements are required. So what you're seeing to date, and again, we talked about the Canal Road Betterment Project. You've seen Locust Point Road rebuilt. You'll see Canal Road widened. So there are some improvement projects that are being funded by the developers. Yeah, Cloverleaf, the widening in Cloverleaf was funded by the developer. That was something that the township required.
Houses that are going back on Locust Point right now, they're not supposed to be coming down Locust Point, but they're also not supposed to be coming across the bridge on Canal Road because it's not rated for the weight. So their really only option is to run the whole way down the trail and cut across the new regional way, and come the whole way around there. And that's why they're like, it's a lot quicker to just cut down Locust Point than to do that whole round.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, wasn't there any kind of a traffic studies done prior to that to get ahead of that and realize like, hey, there's not any real good truck route being in there, and this is going to be an issue. And I just wonder where does that come into play when we're planning out these warehouses that seem to be going up like Lego.
Well, so there's not formal traffic studies done when zoning is established. So we've talked about this before, is when the zoning ordinance was established in, I believe, 2009, the land was zoned industrial. It didn't necessarily mean warehouse. Like that wasn't, it was zoned for all kinds of different industrial uses. But what you've seen happen in this area, is a lot of industrial warehouse development. So unfortunately, it is. But yeah, when the land was rezoned, again, a long time ago, these warehouses have come in as permitted uses. There have been requirements to improve and widen. Again, you've seen the work on Locust Point in that area. The bridge is a problem, which is why it's being replaced. I understand it's not done right now.
Went in, he redid the road right up in there.
There's a conglomerate besides the roads and road improvement that you've already seen. There is a planned project to widen Canal Road and replace a bridge, funded by the developers and the same money to replace the bridge. So that's a project that's upcoming. So your comment is valid about the bridge. We know it needs to be replaced. The design's done, we're ready to go. That project should start hopefully in the next, I'm not gonna say a few months, but within the next year. That project will commence. So that's one thing that is being done. But again, something like a bypass road that was just brought up on the eastern part of 83. No, we don't know how it's going to be funded. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. Is it feasible? We're in the beginning stages. So what I want to convey to you all is, yeah, we hear you and we understand some of the impacts, and we're trying to look for solutions. That's why we had meetings with the state reps, state senators. But no, we can't solve it overnight, but we're gonna do what we can.
For Locust Point Road, wouldn't it be feasible, right there at Bowers Bridge, and done it before up in Cumberland County? Put one of the the structures, where, place it underneath of it. They did it on the Camel Hump Bridge up in Cumberland. There's a couple of them. They had where you. They're gonna get to the point. They're not gonna be able to get through it. Same way with down in Seven Valley. There's trucks right on the
Okay, so, Derek, are you ready, sir?
I think so.
Okay,
Thank you for. Yeah, you've got a valid question.
and thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Who did you talk to at Carvana that's
Your name, please?
I'm pretty sure everybody knows me, but I'll tell them. Brad Boblins. Who? Who did you talk to at Carvana that gave you any inclination that you guys are going to get anything through Carvana's property?
What do you mean?
Well, you said you talked to representatives at Carvana about moving their mega center and everything else, and I can almost assure you that nobody at Carvana knows. Like she said, whoever mentioned it, nobody from this township has talked to anybody at Carvana.
Somebody at Carvana knew enough to shift the massive building to the other side of the road. That was the result of our.
It was always going to be on the stone side of the road. It was never supposed to be over the
It
other
was
side.
not. That's not true. I have the plans.
He's an engineer who knows.
Yeah.
So who from Carvana gave you any inclination that how much taxpayers' money was spent on this truck route that nobody has talked to any of the landowners yet to own any of that property?
Almost none.
No taxpayers' money is.
I said almost none. There have been maps drawn up. That's it. So again, we are in the process of evaluating ideas. The official map came up as a potential as, hey, this property is going to be developed. We knew Carvana was going to do an improvement. So we met as a township and said, we better get ahead of this. And if we ever want to see a bypass road come through here, we better draw up an official map to see if we can reserve a strip of land through here before Carvana built their building. As a result, we ended up not following through with the official map. It's tabled right now because Carvana shifted their building to the other side of the road to leave that access open so we can evaluate further whether that makes sense for us.
What about going through Kemper's farm down there?
Well, again, this is all we are here right now. All those discussions haven't happened at this point. We're at a very high level.
And to reiterate what he said about Locust Point and everything else with the warehouses, you continue to let them build warehouses on a road that's been restricted to trucks for God knows how long. How does that fly? So where the new warehouses are at, you want them to come in off the Manchester side. So they're going to drive by the two huge signs and say no trailers over 30 foot, and the cops can't do nothing about it. What's going to happen there? The wonder why the cops don't take the trucks anymore is because you got to give them free will to get out of the tickets. I mean, how do you build a warehouse on roads that are restricted to trucks for how many years?
Since November of 2022.
Okay, and we have somebody else had a question?
I wasn't done yet.
Okay. What did you need?
For the township to do their job and stop these warehouses. We already have, I told, he asked about the infrastructure and who pays for this infrastructure. I said that 20 years ago when the ES3 got in there. Nothing's been done yet since the infrastructure. You know? And not a single one of you sitting up there deals with trucks parked in front of your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, waking your kids up, tearing your property up and everything else. And the only reason I'm here, because Claire, you know I don't come to this shit. The only reason I'm here is because my name was thrown around in this place. Guess what? Whoever wants to throw my name around that I chase trucks, I don't even live at that property anymore. I've been called the cops about nothing because they do absolutely nothing. So I'd appreciate whoever it was keeps my name out of your mouth because, yeah, I know it's you. I know it's you. You've only lived in that house, what?
Okay, all right.
Now it's a problem because you got
I'm not here to start something.
All right, let's stop it here.
Live here 20 years.
You had another question back here? Who had a question? Go ahead.
Keep my name out of your mouth.
All right,
James,
continue.
James Zander, 830 Bremer Road, something kind of related to that was just being talked about. Sometimes we see road widenings in our community being done before the warehouses. Other times the warehouses go in, and then in this case now they're talking about the canal widening and everything else. For the public to understand, because you have expressed your hands are tied sometimes. What lawful recourse do you have to try to force them to do the road widenings and improvements before they start bringing their trucks in their buildings. Horse before the carriage, carriage before the horse type of thing. What lawful recourse do you have to say, you're going to bring your trucks in here, you got to do the roads first, so we're not suffering in the meantime?
Okay, at any time the warehouse comes in, we do have a traffic study. And, they let us know.
So the difference, it's a kind of a two-pronged approach. You have your localized improvements which relate to basically the frontage of the properties. So, Locust Point Road is a good example where, when you have a warehouse going in, you've seen Locust Point widen from the south to the north right to that driveway. That's an example of a localized improvement that was required by PennDOT before that facility opens. The next one going in now at Hanover Locust, there's a whole other widening project that's gonna widen Locust Point all the way up to their entrance. Okay, so those are the localized projects. The Canal Road Veteran Project is a regional project that's being, put together by a number of the developers in the area. That project wasn't necessarily, from what I understand, a requirement of PennDOT. Is more of planning for the future and making sure that everything in that corridor is acceptable. So that's why the warehouses have come online, the localized improvements are being made, and then the bigger projects will take a very long time to get the permitting, design, construction take longer.
Correct.
I'll give you.
Most of your old townships are arguing too. I do know that to a fact. East Manchester and Conewago are fighting on who's going to pay for the rest of Regional Way down to Canal Road. That's why a lot of this goes in a hole.
No,
It's
What is it?
It's not in Conewago Township.
yeah, respectfully, the developers are actually arguing over who's paying, not the municipality.
But I still have concerns. We have that, now we got that warehouse coming in Dover and their traffic is gonna get dumped on our road. I mean, we're never gonna get out from under it. I don't know how we're gonna get out, because by the time we get this thing, we're gonna have to think what Dover's doing to us. I mean, we gotta figure out that. We're trapped.
All right. And we hear your concerns. Unless you have something new.
I have a question as far as you're saying about traffic stuff. And when Cloverleaf was initiated, I got one of my friends who's on the zoning board, and he said to me, "There, don't worry, traffic study, if you not support it, Cloverleaf will not go in." I believe it. So I didn't fight it. My mistake. Why I'm here now. If a traffic study goes in and says it's not feasible, does the township override that then? Or was he wrong in telling me that the traffic study, this is Cloverleaf? Because it took me, seriously, the other day, 15 minutes at 12:30 to get out. My mistake, I should have went into Aidsville, but late for that appointment, let me tell you, going to get that man. All I'm gonna say. But the traffic study, how does that feed?
So traffic studies a lot of times deal with, they deal with levels of service. And full disclosure, I'm not a traffic engineer. I know enough about it, but the township hires an external traffic engineer to do the traffic study report, because that's not something I consider in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
So whenever we have a traffic study, we send that to a professional traffic engineer to review. But what I can tell you is how most of the traffic studies work is if anybody's ever heard of a level of service for an intersection or a road, the tough part is when you have a road that is a very low or a failing level of service, when another development comes online, it doesn't drop that level of service. It's the same. So the Cloverleaf Road, the hope and what the township pushed for at the time is we want to see a light in that intersection. Since it's the PennDOT road, that whole area of Susquehanna Trail is PennDOT, where Cloverleaf connects with the trail. Then that would not allow a traffic signal in there because of the proximity of the lights. So but basically the way that the warehouse went in is on the former Bolts one, how that was all basically worked out is the Cloverleaf Road was widened to allow for a better turning radius in and out of there. And the developer also funded signal improvements at 83. So those signals coming off of the off ramps of 83 were all upgraded with the latest radar technology to help traffic flow through there better. So that was basically the concession that was made in PennDOT, who permitted the widening on Cloverleaf Road to
I'm trying to get out.
Thursday, they actually reprogrammed it like that.
I did not.
Thursday, they actually moved some more programming like that and put it down on Thursday, so I'm curious to see how.
Maybe
So I'll come through there a couple times.
maybe it should be no left turn for Cloverleaf stuff. But that would stop some of the, and maybe make it that you can, maybe a red light down by, say, down there by Sheets that allows you to go around the back of the building and come back out if you need to go back. That would be a solution. That would redirect you around that, but it would have to be that you come out to that red light somehow. But that no left turn, they ride for my bikes, and it is made that you go down and do it between sheet and go high back. That's how I do it. I don't even try to go around.
Okay, we're gonna have to start moving on. So, did you have one more question?
Slight follow-up. I appreciate James Zander again. I appreciate the local versus regional explanation. But where I was, sorry if I misconveyed the question. To what extent does our township supervisors have to try to force them to do the road improvements before they put the truck traffic and the buildings in?
And we have been doing regulations on them.
We tried that with Beverly. We pushed, and we got pushed back.
Well,
And
respectfully, the one we did control was the widening
Yeah.
of Cloverleaf
they
Road.
were just wider.
Cloverleaf Road was widened and completely rebuilt.
And now they've cut that all up anyway, so really.
I know.
Okay, so we had one more question.
I'm going through there. Sure. I lived attached to the boat farm, where the drain out now. The warehouse was put out back there. I was told when that was almost completed by Frick, when he was still on the other side, maybe he was still on the list, whatever. He told me that they were gonna put one of the concrete turntables on the ground and keep the truck from turning left, and that not true, or is that not happening?
I don't know.
I'm going
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be.
I respect the fact that you can say I don't know.
No, I can't. I mean, I was involved through the review and the approval of the plan. I cannot remember what was actually permitted through that driveway. We definitely had discussions related to restricting left-hand turns, similar to the discussions we had in restricting right-hand turns from the Cloverleaf Business Park that's being built across the street. Happy to look at the approved plans and see if something should be built out there that won't.
Thank you. Are you walking out of the driveway? The truck come out of that warehouse. It's supposed to go right on 83. Yeah. You know where I live. I'm down in that bottom of that hill. They turn left there. Really?
No.
Yeah, they turn left and then they're like, oh crap. They get down to the end of Cloverleaf where it hit Green Frame. They're backing up the hill. And then they come down to your butter.
The one on Lucas Point there, we actually made that and put a jersey barrier.
Correct.
On that lane that they cannot turn.
And that's what Chris told me was something along that line. He didn't specify how high, width, whatever. Just that it was going to be something with I think he put it a turntable or something. Concrete barrier blocking from driving up.
What we've employed, what we talked about, or I do remember what we talked about at the Wolf Farm property is around the same time that was being approved was also when Moran Logistics was being constructed. And we discussed utilizing the same type of basically driveway design that Moran Logistics used that was approved by PennDOT to reduce left-hand turns on the Locust Point. We had asked the developer to take that design and basically replicate it.
I would love to know if that was in the design and was never done because hey, somebody, I mean, it should paid for it should have been done, whatever.
But B, it's affecting all, everybody that way now too.
We'll get that for you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll move on. The one-room schoolhouse update.
This is something that we were just working on with the comp plan, and I just happened to finish it right now, but I'll mention it right now. And in 1818, you had done your bicentennial, and that you had the information on the one schoolhouse. So I kind of took that and did another look to see if things had changed, where we're at. It's getting a little more than we had in that report, so I'm just gonna go through that real quick. That's just a brief map showing where they're all located. And that does include the one, the two schoolhouse that's been demolished as well on there. So most of them have been converted. A couple have been demolished, and we'll kind of walk through that a little bit. So just, I don't have any information there. I think there's a picture somewhere of the two-room schoolhouse, but I didn't find it before the meeting, so I don't have it on here. The other ones are all on here.
Are you talking about the one at Big Pine on Creek?
Yeah, the one that on the Carvana.
I have one on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I don't have listed, so thank you. So this one is just Fair School in Copenhagen, which is still in the it's been converted to a residence, so that's where that was at. You had State School on Sheets Bridge, which also again had been converted into a residence, and since your stone schoolhouses are the ones that didn't tell us for that as far as structure, so but we'll kind of call it. Just walk through them real quick. Eden School, there was two of them. Nine is, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Nine is school on Anderson Town, there was two of them. So they have a stone one that was converted. I think it's a chapel at this point. And they also had a wooden frame one, which has been demolished. So that one is gone. I don't have any more recent pictures of that one. Rose's School on Canal Road, that one has been converted basically to storage, but for the most part, it retains the look of the schoolhouse. They've done a really good job keeping it all together, including the little bell tower. Rudy School on Butter, that one is also a residence, another stone one. This is the only other one that kept the bell tower, so you only have the two that still have that look left. Your Shrine School on Cemetery Road, that one again is converted to a residence. The Green Spring School, that one's on the corner of Green Spring and Butter. This is one of the wood construction ones. Again, this one's been converted to a residence, someone's living in it. And unfortunately,
You go back one.
sure, that one.
This house here, I don't know who lives there, but there's a house also behind it that was on fire at one point in time, and it's like uninhabitable. It's an eyesore. It's terrible. Everything you can do before it falls down and down. Everything we can do to make that be cleared out.
I can look into it. I didn't know that one had a fire. Was it recent? No, it was years ago.
Like 2 years ago.
Okay. I know there's a house on that thing site. I'll go look at it.
It's the house to the rear of it.
Yeah, is it
Parking spot in it.
the one that's on the same parcel?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let me make a note. This is the one, unfortunately, that in the years since your bicentennial, this one has been demolished, unfortunately. Am I saying it right? Shettles? Okay. Shettle School. That was the one on Lewis Ferry. That's one of your few wood construction ones. That one is no more, unfortunately. This one on Bowers Bridge, I didn't talk to the owners, but I'm assuming they converted it into storage or some type. Right. Oh, you're the owner. Okay. Is it still have any of the blackboards in it? Are they in it? Yeah. Oh wow, nice.
No way.
That's cool. That's awesome. Do you have any old pictures of it or at all? No. Oh, okay. I thought I'd try. This one is Smith School. This one is also Lucas Point Road. This is also one of your wood construction one. It's probably the youngest of the schoolhouses in 1880. This one actually still retained the blackboards and everything inside. It has not been updated in any way, so it's mostly in original condition.
it is also your most threatened and vulnerable one in the schoolhouse.
There's also house across the street now at the roof gate.
But yeah, he's already working on that. He's going to be cleaning it up. We've been talking this year, so yeah, I've been talking with him the last couple of weeks. They were planning to clean it up this year when he gets a little drier out.
Yeah, keep your husband off his property. The cops have told you.
All right, okay.
The cops have told
All right.
Paul not to be on his property. Quit taking your husband down there.
All right, continue, Stephanie.
Thank you. So having said that, this, like I was saying, this one is one of your wooden one-room schoolhouses. It is your most threatened. So I'm kind of putting it out there because it is right on the road. And I know that at some point they have been planning to widen that part of Lucas Point Road, which you don't want it to get. I'm not sure what they would do at that point. They'd have to reroute the road or just move the building. It had been hit by us. I believe it was a truck. Some vehicle had hit it and there was some damage. It's not actually structurally in terrible shape. The floor inside is pretty bad, but the building actually looks fairly sound. So it's still in very savable shape. And I have talked to Mr. Forey about it. He does want to see it preserved, but he has talked about the difficulty of doing the upkeep because you literally have to stand in the road to get to one side of the building right now. And I told him I would reach out and see if the township was interested in possibly moving the building to one of the parks and then having it rehabbed so that it could be used for teaching purposes again for school children. I've seen it done in quite a number of parks. It's a very popular thing that happened. I would recommend checking to see with your tax base if they're behind it, or if you would have to try and raise funds, like to have a group raise funds for it. Mr. Forey was not against the idea. He would like to see it preserved. He just had mentioned how difficult doing so is at this point. Because it is also in a floodplain. It's in a very difficult site. But it does retain, it hasn't been updated. It has the building in there. It has the blackboards and everything. So that's just something I wanted to mention, but you have to check.
That was very interesting. Thank you.
My quarry is in the boulders down there, and as far as the root caving in, we kind of did flash. We had some serious issues this weekend.
He reached out to me, so just to be very fair, Mr. Forey came into the township building and spoke to me. He reached out to me for help on a few issues, and I've been talking to him. He volunteered that he's working on this building. I am not pressuring him. Okay, so just making that very fair right now. He invited me to his property.
All right.
No, you walked down
Okay.
there voluntarily by yourself.
All right. And
The
we'll
cops told
continue.
your husband to stay away from there because he's been charged with stalking.
Excuse me, you're out of order.
Yes.
And if we hear any more, we'll have Jeremy remove you. Thank you.
Bethany,
Okay.
I'd be willing to, my boys would be willing, like if you set up a work day for Glenn, she's in his age.
Yeah.
So I would be willing to help tear down whatever roof it is. I just, it's down.
It's down. Yeah.
It collapsed. It was a porch roof that collapsed.
And I get that, but he's older.
Yeah.
He health struggle.
Oh, yeah.
They are extended family with me.
Okay.
And we have talked about trying to get people to buy years over and help make that up down one day.
Okay. We'll get something organized and on a weekend maybe can get that done for him. Okay. Thank you. That very generous. Thank you. All right. The reports. We have the police report. And is there a reason our monitor's not working up there?
I can't get it to turn on I think the remote port died.
Okay.
We were trying to charge it, but it wasn't working.
Okay. All right. This is a picture of Officer Matt Straub. Matt Straub has been an officer with Northern Regional for 15 years, and he just passed away 2 weeks ago. He had pancreatic cancer, and he was the oldest officer, the oldest person that we put in Northern Regional. And he was 40 years old. He was a truck driver. And he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. So he went to criminal justice and graduated and became a police officer. If anybody was at our last program we had here, it was called Refuse to be a Victim. I don't know if anybody in the audience was here. He was the instructor, and that was just in November. And he worked up until 3 weeks before he passed. And he was 1 week at home and then 2 weeks on hospice, and he passed. So if you would join me in a moment of silence. And we also have the building report. Everybody got to review that?
Yeah.
All right. And on the police report, we had, for the year, we had 171 increase in calls and over the whole department. In Conewago Township, we only had 17 more calls than we have in the past. We had no overdoses, drug overdoses, no deaths, and no Narcan was administered. We had 17 were called, 11 were theft, 5 were alarms, 10 were animal complaints, and 18 were EMS calls. So during the March 17th, we had a promotional ceremony, and I promoted 6 and swore in 6 new promotions. And they were Sergeant Erica Eicher was promoted to lieutenant, and Corporal Stephen Nebo and Corporal Matthew Satalis, they were promoted to sergeant, and Officer Jack Govern, Officer Fisher Stolfuth, and Officer Anthony Gelball were promoted to corporal. And they for Jack Govern, he was just, I swore him in on June of 2021. So for him to be promoted to corporal was really amazing. I was really proud of him. They started a new hiring cycle for the July Police Academy. We have 60, and when I say we, I'm talking it's Northern Regional. We have 64 applicants so far this cycle, and only 1 was eliminated by the tattoo policy. They're not allowed to have any tattoos on their neck or on their arms or anything to show, because they can be interpreted differently. Detective Jack Asper, he's going to retire, and we will need somebody to replace him. We'll also need 2 new officers because beginning of 2027, Spring Grove Borough is joining us in our department. So we'll need 2 new officers for that. We also had staff attending the March 18th funeral services for Pennsylvania State Police Corporal O'Connor, who was from Downingtown, and he was killed in the line of service. So we didn't have a lot of different things as far as we had some theft up at Dottie's grocery store, and it was just pretty much computer fraud. So just be aware if somebody contacts you, just don't be sending the money. So do I hear a motion to accept the police report and the building report?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, treasurer's report. I had a question, but Benita straightened me out on that. So any questions?
No.
Do I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for March.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The road report, and I guess Derek, you're gonna take that?
I will. Okay, the township advertised 5 different projects for bids relating to the 2026 road bid. I'd like to go through those each and get the supervisor's approval for award. The first contract is for asphalt materials, excuse me, stone. The first bid is for stone. We received 2 bids on this project, one from York Building Products, low bid of $122,820. Your second bid was from Vulcan Construction of $211,095. So got a good deal there. So I'd recommend award of the stone bid to York Building Products.
No, second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, your second contract is for paving materials. We've only received 1 bid from York Building Products. I think consistent with the comments we made earlier today, and again, I was going to make that recommendation anyway. I would recommend award of the project to York Building Products Co. With the contingency that we process a change order to change out the asphalt binder from PG 64E22 to PG 6422S, which is more consistent with what we would use on local roads.
Do you approve of that?
I surely do. That's $1,000.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept that
I'll make a motion
with the change order?
the change order along with the payment, the award of the contract in York Building Materials.
All in favor, say aye.
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 That one was York Building Products.
York Building.
Okay, very good, no problem. Okay, the second bid was for geofabric reinforced seal coat with a POG seal. I know that's a mouthful. I was asked to explain this to the residents a little bit since I know the tar and chip is a very dirty word to say from a lot of people. So what this project is, or at least this application is looking to do, it is a form of tar and chip, but it is an improved version of it. I support this. You can get a lot of miles done for not a lot of money compared to the traditional asphalt paste. The other benefit is, if you guys know about seal coat tar and chip, is it's very flexible pavement. So some of your rural roads that don't have a very strong stone base underneath them, you try to put a rigid asphalt hobbing on those, it'll look great for a year, maybe 2. And then eventually it's going to start moving and cracking because the base just can't handle a rigid pavement. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what this application is we're looking at putting a geofabric reinforcement layer down first. So we're going to add some strength to a road that doesn't otherwise have a lot of strength. The next would be a double application of stone like you would normally see in a tar and chip. I'm sorry, when it goes down for a couple of days, you're not going to like it. I'm very sorry. There's no way around it. So it's going to go down. Give us a couple of days with the stone down. After the stone goes down, we will roll it. That's not something that you see in a normal state job where they just spread the stone. So we will put the stone down. We're going to compact it with a rubber tire roller. Then after it sets for a couple of days, we're going to come back and sweep the excess stone up. All right. We'll use a broom. The township's going to bring a truck out. Any of the loose stones going to go to the township. We'll use it in one of our parking lots or somewhere else in the township. It's our material. And then the last piece that happens for this, we're going to do what's called a fog seal. A fog seal is the very, very sticky emulsion that you put on top of the road that's going to give it kind of a crust layer on top and will take away any of the rest of the loose stones. So once that thing is down, it'll be a little rougher than what you might be used to with a regular paved road, but it's going to feel like the same rigidity of a paved road, and you're not going to be kicking up stone for months and months. Again, there's nothing we can avoid for that first week it goes down, but after that, we're going to clean it up, seal it up, and then you should get some decent light out of the road.
Isn't that also like reclaiming it? Kind of?
Well,
Reclaiming
it, when I think of reclaiming, you're more going in and grinding it up.
Not meaning by putting it into the pavement and grinding it up.
Right.
Just actually relaying it back down, putting a couple of different stages.
Right. We're not looking to reclaim the road. This is just going to be a top coat. But what we want to do is, again, instead of just putting loose stone down like you would normally see in an orange chip job or a sealed chip job, We're putting a reinforcement layer down, knitting the stone together. We're gonna roll it, we're gonna sweep it, and we're gonna seal it. So it's kind of a tar and chip on
How
steroids.
many roads are getting that done?
I don't have that information. It's two
Two?
or three.
Brooker Lane.
Yeah.
Why would Brewster Lane get that? We just paid that.
Yeah, but you know.
Literally. It's just not repaid.
It was.
That's my information on you. Wow.
Didn't have a help that let me put down on Brooker Lane.
We fought like hell to get dump trucks down there.
Brian didn't have the top put on. Yeah, the top didn't want to steal off. That's the problem. If you don't steal it off, you're gonna lose the ring.
I don't have the bids were prepared in paper form. I don't have them in front of me, and that's what the road.
I have a question about that.
There's one at the dead end, there wasn't it? And one third that we converted.
Oh, that means you're gonna come do my road?
I can't remember what it is.
Big Creek.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I was really feeling about a particular road that had been brought to my attention by a number of registered voters, so brought it to my attention. Westwood, outside of Westwood community, there's a road called Westwood, and
Oh,
apparently.
that's a whole that's a whole nother agenda topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we get that on because
No, that's a whole nother.
how's
Yeah.
that a private road? People live on that and.
They do, but that's all private.
Okay. Never
I
adopted,
would
but
like to have a conversation with somebody about that to help me understand. Okay.
never.
I have a
but-
better question. You're talking about the financing for all of these things. Is there a way that you can put in the financing to that street people go around and especially mine, where we have a lot of gravel like all over the road and just whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
and everything. And I've been taking my blower and trying to blow it out of the way because of me being at that stop sign. It's not safe for motorcycles and stuff. So I've been trying to blow it and rake it up. I don't know where to both of it. So I'm kind of like blowing it in my yard.
We have for years.
No, so
Now,
this is,
we use solar.
I think it's mainly just from everything wear and tear on the
No,
road.
they don't, they.
But something needs, the road needs to be swept because there's only so much I can do with the road.
Yeah, I know they dropped, they dropped something different. It wasn't
It's-
just
it's
all.
bad.
It's something else.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's eating away at the road.
It's any stick, cause I was in independent down back to.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And if you must really wanna know anything about it, it's real button killing. Killing knows all about me.
We don't know what we put on the list. We put salt on the list.
Okay.
So Garrett, are you ready?
Yeah, so on the, so I apologize for the long-winded explanation there, but I thought it was important you guys all know what we're trying to do and don't get scared when you see those stones getting spread out.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
So we had two bids, for the seal coat. The low bid was Martin Paving at $210,270. Your second low bid was Russell Standard, $224,206. Both very qualified contractors. They're good bids. I recommend approval of Martin Paving bid 210,270.
I'll make a motion to approve Mark Gaming for the geofabric for seal code.
Second.
210. Yeah, $210,270.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right. Number 4 is the bid for paving placement. You had one bid from Kinsley Construction. Low bid was $241,000. Yeah, no concern with Kinsley as a contractor. I recommend approval of that.
All right, I make a recommendation to approve Kinsley Construction for Hayden Place for $240,000.
41.
240. Sorry.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right, your last contract was line painting. We only received one bid from DE Gemmel. That's pretty traditional for most of our municipalities here in North. Gemmel does no true line painting. Their bid price was $53,041. With their unit prices, they seem pretty far in line with bids I'm seeing by the municipalities. So
Before we approve that, I would have a bidder.
And I did ask them, you know, you something that more reflective. She said, you cannot see the line. And the PennDOT staff is right. So it,
So your only other option, if you don't use the waterborne paint, which again is pretty traditional, would be to go with thermoplastic. And that's, yeah, it's a significant amount of money.
more reflective.
Well, again, they make different types of paint, but it's what is approved through PennDOT, which is what is eligible to use your liquid fuel money. So that's the issue, is if you want to use liquid fuels on it, which I assume you do.
Do we have enough other stuff going here? It's gonna cover the liquid fuel plant. You know, the township paid this and we pay a little extra to get something that we just. It's gonna go in.
We could look into it. The other thing I would want to, I'd probably want to have a discussion with Steve about any liabilities that may come with using a line paint that isn't consistent with safety. You always open, you always, in my experience, you kind of always open yourself up if you're using products that aren't kind of state. Yeah, yes, you're using a non-standard. You use a non-standard, hey, it'll be nice and bright, and then all of a sudden it's somebody's life. Oh, so I was blinded by the light. Like, I'm sorry, but it's true. So I generally recommend you go with what's, the state has a list. It's called Bulletin 15. That's the approved product the state uses. I stick to Bulletin 15.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to do the just move down to $41 for line paint.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, solicitor's report.
All right, guys, 3 items. Everything, this is all related to the Canal Road widening project. So, you had previously approved some resolutions and in regard to the declarations of taking for the widening of those roads. Turned out that there was an error in one of the PIN numbers that was referenced. So we're basically redoing into the same property that were done already in the last time. But then as we were going through the process of recording these at the Court of Deeds and the assessment office, there was a conflict that came up between the parcel numbers. So after we reviewed everything with them, we're basically redoing those resolutions. So all these resolutions are again just reused with the one change to the parcel number of the declaration taking that were done previously.
Okay,
So can we do that in one motion? Yeah, if you can just, if you want to approve resolutions 2026-09, 10, and 11, you can do that in one motion. Yeah, 9, 10, 11. I'll make a vote to approve resolution 2026-09, 1.10, 1.611.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, and then the other item is there's as part of this, as part of the widening, there's certain municipality, no, utility thing. There's the utilities that need to be moved. So, as part of that, they've come to us and, in order for them to do this, they're looking for the cost to be paid. There was an agreement that was presented where the developers were gonna pay this. Developers have pushed back and said, well, we'll cover the cost, but we want the township to sign and as the HOP permittee to sign the agreement. I'm recommending that we have the developer also sign this. So, the difference is either way, the developer's gonna be paying the cost, but what they want is for us to be the only one liable to your water, the other utilities. And I want them on the, I want their names on the agreement. So I'm just, I said that we had a meeting with the municipalities, all the developers involved. I said I would bring this to you, find out, if you're going to, if thoughts on this, but, I'm basically looking for confirmation that the developers directly sign there. To be liable for the cost of that.
Yeah, I don't think we have a problem with, signing it as long as they sign there.
Yeah, there's definitely a role since we are the permittee depend on it and stuff like
And
that.
that's how it has to be.
And that's how it has to be.
Mhm.
Well, if I was in the meeting there, and if I recall, the developer got a fund set up that's $4 million. To cover it, and I think the expected cost were only like 3. Is that right?
I don't know.
I mean, it was similar.
There's-
It wasn't exact.
The thought is that there's plenty of money for the developers, no costs here.
Correct. So that, you know, but yeah, I don't want.
Yeah, but-
their readers are.
Yeah, but then the problem is we have to go get that and then if they, you know, I mean, with them on here, if they agree to pay water or whichever utility it is directly, then, you know, we don't have to worry about us running the money and then getting paid or doing anything.
Or we have to bring it down to the involves.
No. Yeah, because well, the
It's
problem,
gonna be-
the problem.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, in my opinion, is the other townships are the ones that have more skin in the game, and we're doing the road work, but yet they're on the windfall part of it here. You know, they have all the work on the side. You know, in my opinion, look this off that, you know, if the work being done in ours, but the work being done in ours because of this, their warehouses.
A Manchester and Eaton.
Yeah, so I really think they should be on there for part of the book here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, this is really just about who's going to cover the cost.
I know,
And
I don't want to come back and we're telling people that, hey, it fell back on us.
well, that's what I want. That's why I mean the developers, East Manchester and Manchester, they're not they're not the deep pocket to them either. You know, I mean, just like the agreements are that the developers will fund all the costs of this, right? So if they sign these agreements saying that the wording is that they just pay this directly, I don't see what the role is. I mean, listen, I'm trying to protect my law. Yeah, by doing that.
And the only
But-
reason we have to sign is because we have the HOP.
HOV.
That's what we're saying, but I don't know if that will.
You know, if they don't have, well, in terms of the funding, no, but there are things that may have to be done where we have to,
Or things.
yeah, saying that we.
The money's there, from what I was being told, but.
Yeah, I think the money's there, but I wanna make sure it's directly there, not we have to change it.
I think they're good with that.
Okay.
So as long as the developers, we're not buying it ourselves.
No, that's what I said, but I wanna, but I want confirmation
Okay,
that you're there.
are you okay with that or do you need a?
No, I don't need any motion, but,
Okay.
I want a public discussion about this and then,
Okay,
that's all my agenda items.
okay, all right. Thank you, Steve. Engineers report.
I don't think I have anything further to discuss tonight unless anybody has questions for me.
What?
Oh, I just put the road bid up top. I'm good.
Is there a fall game on or something tonight? You want
It's
to
on
get out?
9:45. We're in San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
I would like to be home before that.
Okay, so unfinished business, new business, I'd like to add something to the agenda. And it would be, to announce the position of secretary treasurer. So if I hear a vote to add it to the agenda,
I'll make a motion to add, secretary treasurer to the agenda.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have Erin here tonight, Erin Dell, and she's our new secretary treasurer. And we're gonna also put that on our agenda for next month also to make it official. But do I hear a motion to accept her as secretary treasurer?
I'll make a motion to accept Aaron and, Dell as our secretary treasurer.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And also, we have Anita Kaiser here tonight. So she's we call her our pit bull. Nobody gets by her at the front window. So if you call in, that's who we talk to, Anita. And she's doing a really good job. Thank you. Other business, blank drop off. Did you want to pay that, Benita?
We are looking to collect tattered American flags here in our facility. Starting tomorrow, you will find probably late afternoon tomorrow, so possibly not till Thursday. There will be a bin located out in the main foyer area here by the water fountain where you can drop off any of your U.S. tattered flags, and we'll make sure that they get disposed of properly. So if you have any flags that you're looking to, send here, please do so. We are here in the office Monday through Thursday from 7 to 5. We also will have the collection bin with us at our Food Truck Friday events, which will start the first Friday in May. We will be up at the Mill Creek Park Fridays from 5 to 8, the first Friday of each month, May through October, with the exception of July, because of it being the July 4th weekend, we will not be there. So it would be May, June, and then August through October. So you can bring your flags there if that's more convenient, since it would be evening hours, again, from 5 to 8. So if you're looking to, drop off a flag, please feel free to do so in our lobby.
And I would
It
have
be
properly disposed of.
Yes, yeah, and
What's defined properly disposed of? Okay,
so they'll be going to a VFW. We will not be doing it here. Yep, yeah. So it will definitely be handled correctly, respectfully. Yeah, thank you for asking that. Yeah, yeah. So our
I want to make sure they're properly put up.
yes, yeah. So we will not be taking care of that. That will be done correctly. Yeah. So thank you for asking. But yeah, so yeah, we'd encourage you to bring the 5. That way they're all definitely taken care of properly.
Okay, thank you, Benita. John, you had something?
Yeah, in an effort to improve the transparency around what's transpiring with the data center ordinance and input, we are working to put together a town hall. We're in the process right now working with our state representative and our state senator to bring them to the town hall, as well as various utility companies as well, to gain input from them. But we're thinking that we're looking at the high school potentially to hold the town hall there. We'll have dates coming as soon as we can nail down our representatives. And it'll be open to the public. It's going to be a great opportunity for us to gain insight not only from the state side, but also from the utilities, as well as have you guys involved in gaining information, understanding more about what's going on the state level with the town hall or with the data centers, and what we're looking at with regard to the ordinances and so forth. Okay.
There's a meeting tomorrow at the presentation tomorrow at Community Fire Company
In Manchester. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get those dates, how will you let us know?
As soon as we know, we'll put it on the website. Also, Savvy Citizen will make announcements. We're going to make sure it's far enough in advance so that we're announcing it in our meetings as well. Okay.
So are you trying to do it in May? June?
It depends on their schedule. Yeah, we're trying to get, we would like to get our government officials part of that as well. So their schedules are kind of tricky. So it's definitely not going to be in April.
Yeah, so that means pretty much we're going to get it up the air.
No.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yeah.
All right. Jeremy, did you have anything else? I didn't ask you what please. Okay.
Thank you.
We do have the PSATS convention coming up, and the people up here that are going. Are you going?
Oh, I'll be there.
I thought so. Yeah. Chief Lash will be doing a presentation on this building on the Tuesday of the convention. So I'm excited to see what's going to go on there. So it's the one in Hershey. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys? You got anything? Are we good? All right. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.